We are.
And Jane, are you ready?
Yes.
You're ready? Okay. So that sounded a little like maybe.
Just turning up your audio.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, good morning. Today is Wednesday, July 5th, 2023, and we'd like to welcome everyone to the board meeting. We'll call this meeting to order at 9 o'clock a.m. You can join today's board meeting via phone. Dial 971-254-3149. Conference ID 736-023-979#. Audio capabilities are listen only and are offered on a best effort for the public. Our meeting is also live streamed, and you can join us by going online to tctvonline.com and click on live broadcast. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute your phone when your agenda item is ready to be discussed. For those joining via computer, please unmute your microphone and turn on your camera when your agenda item is called. All others must remain muted with their cameras turned off. Thank you. Public comment. Those intending to provide public comment to the board may attend in person or email submissions to public comments at co.tillman.or.us. Public comments received by 12 p.m. on Tuesday will be distributed to the board, posted online before the meeting, and become part of the public record. You may also provide comment virtually by registering ahead of time. To register, please email public comments at co.tillman.or.us by 12 p.m. on the Tuesday prior to the board meeting. Public comments can also be mailed to the Board of Commissioners Office, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon, 97141. For more information on public comment options, please visit the Board of Commissioners webpage. Do we have anyone signed up online or in the room?
We don't.
Okay, no public comment, thank you. All right, we have already called to order, so we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Moe, will you lead us today?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we do not have any non-agenda items today. However, agenda item number 5 has been postponed, so we will start with agenda item number 6. Discussion and consideration of a memorandum of agreement with Trout Unlimited for project and grant management of the Salmon Superhighway project. Chris Laity, Director of Public Works. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
We did receive $2.5 million from the NOAA program. This is a congressional direct allocation. We actually had members of Congress come down and take a look at our project. They liked what Salmon Superhighway was doing. We applied for a Guaranteed to Us grant, and of course it was awarded to us. It was actually awarded to Trout Unlimited and the Salmon Superhighway, but because we're the governmental entity, we received the grant. So when the grant was put together, it was put together in the narrative that county would subsequently work with Trout Unlimited. Trout Unlimited being the people that manage Salmon Superhighway. So it's not really directly to Trout Unlimited, although it is Salmon Superhighway care of Trout Unlimited. But the money came to us as a governmental entity, and what this agreement does is codifies or comes up with some type of legal document for us to transfer the money to Trout Unlimited as the manager of Salmon Superhighway. There's more in the document, but that's the gist of it.
Thank you, Chris. One of those convoluted grant things where you have to have all the right people at the table, but then you have to get the money into the hands of the people who will be doing the work. So,
Right.
Yeah.
And there's one other item that's in there, as we have Green and Sampson Creek that are currently under construction, and we have other projects. The cost is rising up. As we start looking at the money that we've got allocated to at least 6 projects plus more, we ended up, the Public Works in our budget, we dedicated an additional $185,000 to support design and implementation in our case, our construction activities.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, questions or comments on this one?
Good morning, Chris.
Hey, you were talking about the projects and that our congressional representatives came and toured the projects. So for people who are watching this meeting, will you please tell that story a little bit? What projects, who came, et cetera?
Sure. So we had Senator Merkley had come down, and we also had, I believe it was the director for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, although I'm not 100% positive with that. They came down and took a look at the Myrtle Creek, Mapes Creek. Mapes Creek was a project that was done by Salmon Superhighway a couple years back. It received grant money from about 10 different sources. We're saying this is an example of what Salmon Superhighway can do. So we had the local, we had a variety of people come down, including Travel Limited, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. We had the Forest Service involved. We had the Watershed Council. We had Tillamook Estuary Partnership, looking at different projects around the Tillamook, all part of the Salmon Superhighway umbrella. So when we applied for the grant, it was actually written to be as flexible as we could possibly be. So it did include 6 projects that were in there, with the caveat in there is that we can change any of our projects around as needed if matching money comes from OWEB, Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board, and all of a sudden we've got money for this project but we don't have money for that project. As long as it's in the Salmon Superhighway list, we can substitute any of those projects for any one of the Salmon Superhighway project list. So we're looking at about 93 different projects that we can substitute should money arise. So some other grant money. So it's about as flexible as agreement I've ever seen with the federal highway, or excuse me, with the federal government to mix and match funds. They saw the value they see the value with trying to put the best bang for the best dollar, knowing that it takes a lot more than just one entity to actually fund these things. So this is great and wonderful. This project right here, congressional direct spending, it actually doesn't require a match. So it's also the only federal program that I'm aware of that we've never had to actually provide a local match. So when we have OWEB money, we could use for, say, federal highway, their ODOT, or excuse me, federal highway aquatic organism passages, so one of the fish pipes, that requires a match. So our OWEB money, we can use for that to be a non-federal match. We can use public works money to match the federal, say, USDOT money. It just gives us as much flexibility as we can possibly do. I'm kind of rambling here. I apologize for that. Fireworks, I think, stopped at about 2:30 last night. So.
Yes, there you go.
Thank you, Chris. That is very interesting. It's really good news. All of those things. It's good news that this is the first money we've received that doesn't require a match, that there's terrific flexibility, and it's great news that Merkley and all those other folks are interested in what's happening in Tillamook waterways. So I think I really appreciate that explanation, because it helps people who are watching understand how much goes into funding the things that happen here in Tillamook County in terms of culverts and bridges and roads over bridges, etc. It's really very complicated, and definitely Tillamook County couldn't even start to afford to take care of all those things ourselves. So I appreciate you managing these relationships and funding sources.
Yeah, thank you so much, Chris. I mean, this is one of the reasons I can say when it comes to clean water habitat restoration and fish recovery, no Oregon county does this better than Tillamook County. Over the past several decades, we have done terrific work, not with our own money, mostly through OWEB, Oregon Watershed Enhancement Board, in conjunction with Public Works and Soil and Water Conservation, TEP, Watershed Councils, many others. This Salmon Superhighway, this was a pilot project that the federal government wanted to start here in Tillamook County because we already did so much in Tillamook County with limited funding. So this was a new stream of money coming from the feds. I think they started, 8 years ago or so, right in that area, to see, if the federal government started putting money into these watershed enhancement projects, what could happen? And of course, they looked all across Oregon and decided Tillamook County was the great place to start. And I'm on the executive steering committee of 7 Superhighway. And we are doing great work. We're even doing more work now because of this federal funding stream that's coming to Tillamook County. We've done so well with it as they had planned, and they said, well, this works well. We're going to expand this project on the West Coast. I know they were talking about Coos County next. I'm not sure how far they have gotten yet. But this is all part of the reason that we have clean water, great fish returns, things of that nature, and it's why we're so successful. And Chris, you're integral in making sure that these projects come off. Money is spent well. So I appreciate everything you do on this. Let's keep this Salmon Superhighway project funding stream moving forward. It's a godsend to us. It really is. So thank you.
Perfect. I'll just say thank you for again, bringing in these funds and working with us. I think the project's been well described by my fellow commissioners and why it's important to us and how it helps us. So thank you very much. I think we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, in consideration of a memorandum of agreement with Trout Unlimited for project and grant management of the 7 Superhighway projects, I would move approval.
I second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris.
Okay, moving on to item number 7. Discussion and consideration of an order in the matter of the vacation of a portion of R.O. Richards Road West, Township 3 South, Range 10 West, Section 2A in Beaver, Tillamook County, Oregon. We have Jasper Lindy, Engineering Technician with Public Works. Good morning, Jasper.
Morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Good to see you. This vacation might seem a little familiar to you. That is because it's the same one that we brought to you on May 31st. Unfortunately, I neglected to inform where when I presented it to you on the 31st. So this is really a re-presenting to you with the actual document required for you guys to sign off on. There has been one change since the last time this was presented to you. We had requested that it be approved or suggested that it be approved with the condition that an easement be recorded for access across Lot 200. Since that time period, they have already recorded the access easement, and so that has been modified to the recommendation, and that easement has been included in our documentation.
Okay, thank you. We have already discussed this at some length, so I don't know if there's additional questions or comments that you'd like to make, Commissioners.
I have no additional questions. Thank you, Jasper.
Yep, this is a do-over, and I appreciate you bringing this back to us. Let's get her done, as they say.
Okay, I think we're ready for a motion then.
Madam Chair, in consideration of an order in the matter of the vacation of a portion of R.O. Richards Road West, Township 3 South, Range 10 West, Section 2A in Beaver, Tillamook County, Oregon. This is Board Order number 23-044. I would move approval.
I second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, moving on to item 8, discussion and consideration of a stormwater drainage easement with A. Robert Taylor along Spring Street, Township 4 South, Range 10 West, Section 19 CC, in an area of a dedicated public right-of-way between blocks 16 and 17 in Pacific City, Tillamook County, Oregon. Jasper.
Alright, so this is a drainage easement that's in relation to the following items, which is the proposed vacation of portion of Spring Street. We have a stormwater culvert that hugs along the southern line of that right-of-way. Technically, it's inside the public right-of-way, But if we were ever to want to replace that culvert or maintain it in any way, we would have to dig into some of the private property that's joining as a preceding gesture for the potential vacation of that portion of Spring Street. The adjoining landowner has offered a stormwater easement that covers 10 feet of the current private property, as well as 10 feet of the current public right-of-way. So there would be a 20-foot wide stormwater easement. Whether you approve the vacation of that portion of right-of-way or not, it will give us the ability to maintain that particular piece of our drainage infrastructure.
Perfect, thank you. Commissioners, questions or comments?
No, there is no legal description of, that's lot 5, block 16, as platted in, okay, no, I think that's good. I just didn't see a legal description, but it is there. So I'm good with it, and I'm glad the property owners are in agreement with this also.
Likewise, I appreciate the cooperation of the owners.
Yep, maintaining our stormwater system is crucial. So, all right, I think we're ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, in consideration of a stormwater drainage easement with A. Robert Taylor along Spring Street, Township 4 South, Range 10 West, Section 19CC, in an area of a dedicated public right-of-way between Block 16 and 17 in Pacific City, Tillamook County, Oregon. And again, there is no board order number on this. Okay, no, so I would move it.
And I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, moving on to number 9, discussion and consideration of an order in the matter of the vacation of a portion of Spring Street, Township 4 South, Range 10 West, Section 19CC, in an area of dedicated public right-of-way between Blocks 16 and 17 in Pacific City, Tillamook County, Oregon. Jasper.
I continue, Tyler. So this is about the same footprint as the stormwater easement that you were just looking at. It's a section of Spring Street that's in between Brooklyn Road and the Escapa River. It's just to the south of the River House restaurant. So this particular right-of-way already is occupied, a good portion of it by a dumpster for that restaurant. And when interacting with the owner, we had gone over what would be necessary for there to be an encroachment license for that structure to be in that right-of-way. And in that conversation, it was brought up that it would be about the same cost to look at potentially vacating this right-of-way. And since the neighboring property owner was also interested in this and willing to participate in that stormwater easement, they went ahead and decided to go through the petition for vacation. There is one piece of public access that this affects, and that is the potential access to the river at that location. It is a public right-of-way that touches them. There is no current footpath or anything like that going down there, and there is an abundance of public access in that area. Within 400 feet, there's boat launches, kayak rentals, a public park, and 2 other public right-of-ways that access the same river in that area. Given that its primary usage right now is a dumpster for the restaurant and employees parking for the restaurant, we believe that it would be a reasonable recommendation to vacate that portion of the right-of-way.
Okay, thank you. Questions or concerns, commissioners?
So tell me, Jasper, I'm imagining River House in my mind, and I think I can picture where the dumpster is. Also, there are picnic tables out there, and it seems to me like people launch kayaks from there. Do you know if that's true?
Yes, so they are quite adventurous. There's about a 6-foot drop-off to get down to the river out there. There is a kayak launch just to the south of there. There's a kayak rental shop that has a dock, as well as a private launch. Just to the north of that launch is one of the public right-of-ways that accesses the river. And just to the south of that launch is a county park that has access. So primarily, in fact, the picnic tables are there as a remnant of the COVID time period, where outdoor dining wasn't allowed. Those picnic tables are actually property of the Brown's Restaurant. They set them out there in the public right of way during that time period. We won't be on.
Thank you.
So Bill, I've got a couple of questions on both of these last two. The first one, the stormwater drainage easement, the actual definition of the property is in the order, in the agenda item, not listed on the easement item. I want to make sure that that's going to be okay, and I think you need to look at this one further.
I did look at it here,
Okay.
I think it's okay.
Okay.
It's lost in probably more paperwork than we need, but
Okay.
it's there.
Okay, and then this one, the actual properties vary. So on the order I'm going to read, it ends in 19CC, and on the paperwork that we're signing, it's listed as 19CA. I just want to make sure that we're looking at all these things correctly.
I missed that one, David, I can look at it again after the meeting.
Okay.
You guys go ahead and move to approve it. and
Okay.
Change it if we need to.
Okay, so I will read the order as it's on the agenda. How's that? Okay, perfect. All right. Madam Chair, are you
Okay.
ready for a motion?
I am. I have no questions. I think I've parked on this lot before.
Yeah,
When I was just
yeah,
down there,
I know
because
it
you
too.
can get cell
Yes.
service right
Yes.
there. I know when I've had to make a phone call, there's like cell service right there. So I think it is currently being used as parking, and it vacating it, and because we are never going to develop that into a roadway
Yeah.
makes sense to me, and that is one of the things we know we need is parking. And so if the restaurant's going to continue with their dumpster and add a couple of parking spaces, I think that's beneficial. So, yep, I think we are ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, consideration of an order in the matter of the vacation of a portion of Spring Street, Township 4 South, Range 10 West, Section 19CC, in an area dedicated public right-of-way between Block 16 and 17 in Pacific City, Tillamook County, Oregon. This is Board Order number 23-045. I would move approval.
A second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, we've got a bunch of these today. It's like, didn't I just read that? But no, it was a different one. Discussion and consideration of an order in the matter of the vacation of a portion of 19th Street in the Manzanita urban growth boundary in an area of dedicated public right-of-way in Township 3 North, Range 10 West, Section 29AA, between Lot 1 of Block 50 and Lot 1 of Block 53, Tillamook County, Oregon.
So this is a portion that's in the urban growth boundary of the city of Manzanita. So we did reach out to Manzanita for comment. They had no objection to the vacation, but did want to make sure that the property owners were aware that the vacation of a right-of-way adjacent to the property and adjust the property line and therefore adjust the potential buildable areas and setbacks. That is something that they are aware of because that is precisely why they are proposing this vacation. It's being driven by an individual who just recently purchased the property on the northwestern side from the county in the county auction. It's been in county ownership since 1931, I believe it was. So this was one of the ones we were sort of clearing out of our overall holdings, is my understanding. There is very limited building here, buildable area. That's one. There's a steep portion on the backside of it. So the vacation of this right of way would significantly increase the buildable area and also adjust what the setback would be required. So that's the motivation for this petition. We foresee no likelihood that we would be building a road through here, given that it would mean excavating a 20-foot deep trench for 100 feet to access the same properties that are asking to vacate it. It doesn't connect to anything further, and if it went a little bit further to drop off the cliff onto the highway, we're not as well for that. So it is our recommendation for approval of this thing. With one additional requirements suggested, and that be that there is a utility extension recorded for a pole that is on the south corner of that property. There's a TPU pole that doesn't bear any live lines, but it's an anchor pole, a guide pole. So we reached out to TPUD, and they didn't seem to think that there would be any issue because that pole needs replacement. Everybody on that block needs that pole replaced, including commissioners. But just to be safe, we have recommended that a utility will be recorded for access to that particular pole.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments, commissioners?
Well, this makes sense to me because we don't have use for this, we don't anticipate having any use for it, and as you said, it will facilitate additional housing being built in that area. So I think it's a good idea.
Thank you, Jasper. Not that I'm concerned about it, but did this come at the request of the property owners?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, all right. I thought that would be the case. I just thought I would make sure that that is on the record. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I have no questions, comments, I agree. There's no benefit to the public for us to hang on to this little piece of property, so.
Wait for
Ready for
it.
motion?
Madam Chair, on consideration of an order in the matter of the vacation of a portion of 19th Street in the Manzanita urban growth boundary in an area of dedicated public right-of-way in Township 3 North, Range 10 West, Section 29AA between Lot 1 and of Block 50 and Lot 1 of Block 53 in Tillamook County, Oregon. This is Board Order number 23-046. I would move approval.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, thank you, Jasper.
Thank you very much.
Okay, moving on to item number 11, discussion and consideration of a memorandum of agreement with the Department of Homeland Security Federal Emergency Management Agency for preparation of an environmental impact statement, EIS, for the National Flood Insurance Program, NFIP, Endangered Species Act, ESA, Integration in Oregon Plan. Sarah Absher, Director, Department of Community Development. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you. Good morning. Yes, so the long-awaited document, the MOA for Tillamook County to participate through the environmental study process for the NEPA review for the biological opinion is before you for signature. So FEMA is willing to take us as a cooperating agency to participate throughout the process. A couple of things that are noteworthy for the MOA is one, we would be providing technical guidance and support. FEMA has the final say as the lead agency on anything that is produced, but we are excited to be a participant for the process. And then also with our participation would be to have a role in the completion of the environmental impact statement that will come out of the NEPA review and the record of decision. Our roles and responsibilities are outlined. Some of the things that I feel Tillamook County will be most effective on is helping to develop the implementation criteria for what a known net loss of flood storage means. Also an opportunity for us to participate in defining what mitigation measures may be able to look like. And lastly, the piece that we independently tried to start with FEMA and NOAA Fisheries, which was development of an alternative approach. So actually being at the table to participate in the conversation with other state and federal agencies, I think will be very helpful for all of us. A couple of other things, we are required to cover our own expenses and costs to participate. So this MOA was reviewed by Molly Lawrence, who has been our attorney, who has been representing Tillamook County and Oregon's for floodplain protection. Her costs to participate would also have to be incurred by Tillamook County. We are tracking down some funding sources to help support Tillamook County as a cooperating agency. Those include public and private funding sources. So that is something that Molly and I and Commissioner Yamamoto are currently working through if the board decides to sign this agreement. She and I would be taking the lead in participating as a cooperating agency. Either party, meaning us or FEMA, they can conclude the participation process at any time with a 30-day notice, as we can also, if we decide we no longer want to participate with 30 days for written notice, we can also conclude our engagement in that. With that, Benton County also received a copy of the MOA, so they may also be participating. I'm not sure. I met with their community development director and floodplain manager last Friday. I also had a conversation with Dr. Bateman, the director of the Department of Land Conservation and Development. They will not be participating as a cooperating agency status, Their role will probably be a bit different, and they will be part of the rollout with implementation in Oregon. So just had a nice brief visit with her to start the conversation about roles and how we can also continue to work together through the process. But there is a schedule for different tasks also in the MOA. There are no dates for that schedule. In visiting with Molly, we do think that some of those activities have already happened or started. So if the board signs this today, one thing we will do right away is reach out to see what has already been done and where we enter into the process. This may require me to travel on occasion to attend meetings in different areas because this implementation only applies to Oregon at this time. It's highly likely I will need to travel outside of the state, but it will require some of my time attending meetings and then also helping to provide technical support. May also require that I work with Chris Leahy, Rachel Haggerty, the assessor's office, and others to get data and information where they are requesting it. There may be times where we will not be able to share documents or information that are going on through the process. I believe the MOA refers to it as a non-public and sensitive pieces of the process, but certainly whenever we can share things, we will definitely make sure we are doing that and use the coalition, the Oregon Municipal Floodplain Protection, also as a entity to do that, to share information safely. Big process, big opportunity.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, this is a table that we need to be at. It's a table that I know you all have been struggling to be at for many years already, and the fact that we have this opportunity to do so is absolutely critical. So, Commissioners, other comments?
Oh, I agree. I think this is a solid win. I hope that it bears fruit in the future. If we have been trying to have cooperating agency status, asking for it from FEMA for some time, and so I'm delighted to be signing this agreement, and I'm glad that you'll be at the table, and I hope that Tillamook County's voice will be heard by the other cooperating agencies. So thank you for your work in this.
Heard and needed.
So Sarah, this is a great win. It's been your unconditional advocacy about this over many, many years that caused this to happen. You had some help from our federal legislators, which is perfect, and that's important because the way I'm looking at things right now, our federal delegation is finally seeing the huge impact this is going to have, not only on Tillamook County, but Tillamook County first and foremost.
Right.
But most 31 out of the 36 counties in Oregon are going to be affected by this buyout. Over the past many years, people have had blinders on. They don't want to know about it. They don't want to hear about it. But now that it's finally coming to fruition and people are really starting to look at what this is going to do to the state of Oregon, a lot of questions are being raised, which is perfect. This is what we need at this point. So again, your unconditional advocacy for this no fisheries FEMA buyout is crucial. You're doing a great job. We need to keep the pressure up on FEMA. Maybe you shouldn't tell me about things that you learn if I'm not supposed to talk about them, because
It's not your greatest
I
skill.
may have some problems there, but I know you're going to do a great job, and this is an opportunity. We've been waiting for this for a long time, to actually be at the table where these decisions are being made. Again, you mentioned that this is up to FEMA, what they're going to do, but to have us advocating for things that are absolutely wrong about this no fisheries FEMA buyout is very important. So I appreciate everything you do, and I also am in full support of this finally coming to fruition. One little baby step. There you go.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely crucial. When they talk about what is mitigation, they have no clue, absolutely no clue what they're talking about on the ground for real people. And having you at the table as the person who has to look those real people in the eye who will be trying to build on properties they own and say, you know, and you're gonna have to be the one that tells them yes or no, and here's the mitigation. So having FEMA have the benefit of your knowledge and experience at that table, so when they say, we think we should define it this way, for you to be able to say, and here's what that will mean to a property owner in my county who wants to build on their property, and what it will mean to the county if we have to say no in terms of takings and all of those pieces we've talked about. They need that, and I just am super hopeful that they will actually listen. So thank you for all this work, and yes, it's going to be at a cost to the county, and that is something that is a challenge for us. I'm also happy that the coalition is looking at funding opportunities and how we can get some support with this, but it's really not an option. This is one of the things that if Tillamook County's economy is going to continue to operate in the floodplains as it does now, we have to be fighting for protection. So thank you for that. I think we're ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, in consideration of a memorandum of agreement with the Department of Homeland Security Federal Emergency Management Agency for preparation of an environmental impact statement, EIS, for the National Flood Insurance Program, NFIP, Endangered Species Act, ESA, integration in Oregon Plan, I would move approval.
I second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sarah.
Sarah. Moving on to item number 12, discussion and consideration of change order number 2 to contract number 5026, contract for general services with Lubbock Inc. for the Facilities Plumbing Maintenance Services Project. Kevin Jolly, Maintenance Supervisor. Good morning, Kevin.
Good morning, everyone. For your consideration and approval, I have here a change order to our original contract with Lovett to extend their services for another 2 years. Basically what Lovett does for us is there's a large emergency that the locals can't get to, they're busy or whatnot. I can call their services in from over the hill and they can help us with whatever emergency that may arise. So I think since the origination of the contract, I've had to use them one time, but that one time was a considerable lifesaver. So it's kind of like our backup plan for when something large happens.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah,
Mhm.
I've been in the position of having a crisis and needing a local plumber, and it's just really difficult. We don't
That's
have
right.
enough of them in our community, and they're constantly busy, and they're amazing and helpful when you can get a hold of them, but it's
Right.
tough. So having a backup.
Sometimes it's tough, and it's good to have this in our back pocket in case something like that does happen.
It absolutely is. You really can't function very long in a building without water, so.
Right.
Yes, all right, perfect. Commissioners, other questions or comments on this?
I'm fully supportive.
As am I, Kevin. Trying to maintain a 1932 building is difficult at times.
It has its challenges for sure some days.
Yes, it does. I'm in full
Thanks.
support.
Okay, I think we're ready for motion.
Madam Chair, in consideration of change order number 2 to contract number 5026, contract for general services with Levitt Inc. for the Facilities Plumbing Maintenance Services Project, I would move approval.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Okay. Thank you all.
Kevin. Okay, moving on to item number 13, discussion and consideration of amendment number 5 to grant agreement number 5012 with Tillamook Coast Visitors Association for destination management and communication services. Rachel Haggerty, Chief of Staff.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This is Amendment 5 to a multi-year agreement that we have with the Tillamook Coast Visitors Association. The most noteworthy changes are the inclusion of $515,000 for the 22-23 TLT grant program that they are administering. It was originally $500,000, and you elected to approve an additional $15,000 for some cost overruns at the Port of Garibaldi's restroom. So that rounds out the $515,000. And then for fiscal year 23-24, we are providing them $1,369,160 in TLT funds for a suite of activities that they do for us, and they presented during the budget committees earlier in the spring. In addition to that base funding, we are providing an additional $400,000 to the 23-24 grant program that they administer, that they'll be doing a solicitation to the community. And that is the noteworthy changes for going forward. And the agreement expires in 27. So we do these annual amendments to provide the additional funding that's negotiated every year.
Perfect, thank you. Questions or comments, commissioners?
I think just from what you just said, Rachel, it's noteworthy that nearly $1 million of that is for grants. And just so folks know, the 515 and the 400, nearly $1 million of it is for grants. And I feel really good about our contract and our relationship with Tillamook Coast Visitors Association. I think they're doing a great job. They're doing everything we ask them to do. And I'm particularly grateful for the way that the organization has pivoted to embrace destination management, and that work in Tillamook County has become a model for other organizations now, in fact, nationwide. So it's something we can be really proud of.
Thank you.
I absolutely concur with everything you said. They did make a pivot when we asked, and it's been working extremely well since then. But to the residents of Tillamook County, this is where the monies that our vacationers leave us, this is how we get a lot of the projects done in Tillamook County that we need to get done. This helps not only the visitors, but this really does help the local community at the same time. So it's a large amount of money, but it's something that has been in the works for a long time, and as long as Tillamook Coast Visitors Association, DBA Visit Tillamook Coast, continues doing what they're doing, I am glad to keep moving this forward.
Absolutely agree. The destination management piece is really important. It's part of how we work to draw the types of visitors that we want to have here. It's the way we expand many of the services that visitors come from, but that we use too. You know, you think of things like the food trail that are really supporting the restaurants that we want to have here for ourselves, and some of the funding to help marketing with them, those kinds of things is done through this money. So, I mean, it's a really great way to benefit our communities, to support the communities we want to have through the types of tourism we'd like to see. So, great partnership with them, and absolutely in support of continuing to fund them and getting more good work done.
Ready for a motion?
Ready for a motion.
Madam Chair, consideration of amendment number 5 to grant agreement number 5012 with Tillamook Coast Visitors Association for destination management and communication services. I would move approval.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Perfect, thank you. Okay, item number 14, discussion and consideration of a professional services agreement with PAE Consulting Engineers, Inc. for the Tillamook County Fairgrounds Electrical Services Upgrade Project. Rachel Henry.
This is a new agreement to further the project that is identified in the Fairgrounds Strategic Plan. It's one of the first projects that we're starting to move forward. It's in the amount of $38,890 plus some allowance for reimbursable expenses. It goes through October 20th of 2023. And the fair director and the contracted project manager for these projects are collaborating with this contractor to further this element that's in the plan. So by the end of October, we have some plans on what the new electrical service and then we'll proceed with construction, contracting, bidding, et cetera. And this is paid out of Transit Lodging Taxi, allocated for the last couple of years to this project. So it's been sitting waiting to get going, and here we go.
Perfect.
Exciting. Questions or comments, Commissioners?
This is exciting. As liaison to the fair, I'm very happy to see this moving forward. The fair has had a strategic facilities plan for some time, and this is, as Rachel said, the first part. There are inadequate electrical services now for some of the things that happen at the fair, and so, and this will not only adjust that to bring it up to our current needs, but also projecting into the future needs of the fairgrounds. As we look at future uses, we want to get what we need in the ground before we start building anything on the ground. So this is the first thing that has to happen. I'm super excited.
Excellent.
Yeah, this is a long time coming, but absolutely necessary for our fairgrounds. They host probably one of the best small fairs across the nation on an annual basis, and coming up again in August. And our fairgrounds is in need of upgrades and expansion. And again, this is coming from transient lodging tax dollars that our visitors bring to us. So that this is just a perfect conglomeration of bringing money into the county and getting it spent within the county where it does the most good. So I'm in full support.
Perfect. And you know, our fairgrounds host a lot of things in addition to our county fair, and having our facilities, the upgrades in the strategic plan are going to be critical to being able to add to what it can host by having everything it needs. And the electricity is one of those key first steps, along with, I think, stormwater is another one that's coming up very shortly for them. Just, you know, it's that infrastructure in the ground, as you said, Commissioner Bell, so that you can then put things on top of the ground. So really excited to get this started.
Ready for a motion?
Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, in consideration of a professional services agreement with PAE Consulting Engineers, Inc. for the Tillamook County Fairgrounds Electrical Service Upgrade Project, I would move approval.
I second. We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will call for the vote. All of those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, do we have any board concerns today? No board concerns. Wonderful. I'm going to go ahead and do board announcements, and then we will be having an executive session, but I will go ahead and do the announcements now. We do not intend to make any decisions coming back out of the executive session. The Commissioners will hold a board briefing on Wednesday, July 5th, 2023 at 2 p.m. to discuss weekly Commissioner updates. The meeting will be held in the Board of Commissioners Meeting Room 106 in the Tillamook County Courthouse, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon. The teleconference number is 1-971-254-3149, conference ID 736-023-979#. The Commissioners will attend the continuation of a June 13, 2023 public hearing on Thursday, July 6, 2023 at 5:30 p.m. to consider proposed amendments to the Tillamook County Ordinance Number 84 for the regulation of short-term rentals in unincorporated Tillamook County. The public hearing will be held at the Court of Tillamook Bay Conference Center, 4000 Blimp Boulevard, Tillamook, Oregon. The teleconference number is 971-254-3149, conference ID 887-242-77#. The Commissioners will hold an executive session on Monday, July 10th, 2023 at 1:00 p.m. pursuant to ORS 192.660 sub 2 sub I to conduct a performance evaluation. The executive session will be held in the Board of Commissioners Meeting Room 106 in the Tillamook County Courthouse, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon. This executive session is not open to the public. The Commissioners will hold an executive session on Monday, July 10th, 2023 at 2 p.m. pursuant to ORS 192.660 sub 2 sub I to conduct a performance evaluation. The executive session will be held in the Board of Commissioners Meeting Room 106 in the Tillamook County Courthouse, 201 Laurel Avenue, Tillamook, Oregon. The executive session is not open to the public. Okay, with that, we will recess this Board of Commissioners meeting, going into executive session under
192.660, 192.660
All right, thank you. At 9:49.